Testing, check, check, 1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome to the Ninja Robot Studio LLC stream, where I play video games and VR experiences and talk through them from a UX designer's perspective. And everything that we do here is around trying to help. It's not only for it's like I'm doing this research live so y'all can see it, but it's also so that y'all can get insight into the process and get insight into how my brain as a UX designer works. I've been designing experiences for over 24 years now, and across all kinds of different platforms. And so I have come up with my own methods of doing things, and everyone's going to be different. That's one thing that people think when they go to colleges, there's like one way to do things. There are the scientific methods, yes, and you want to follow those scientific methods, but you got to work on it's like what works for you as far as your process, as far as your like way of working, that as long as it's not like hurting the science of UX, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I'm very visual, so I do a lot of things visually. Other people love spreadsheets. I don't love spreadsheets. I like Post-its with colors. So I do a lot with Post-its. And so this is my process and method of how I would do things. And if you looked at another researcher, another designer, they may be using Excel or something. Hi, paws and wet noses. Hi, how are you doing? And so this is my method, and you will get insight into this, and hopefully this will help you come up with your own ways of doing things, whatever works better for you, as long as the science behind it isn't affected. And it's just like what helps you to think better and think through these processes and things. Since I'm visual, seeing things visually helps me. One of the benefits of doing this and let me talk about my structure for those that are new is I go through and I'll play a genre. So I started with tabletop RPGs, and now I did platformers, and now I just finished training Sims, and I'm going back and I'm doing research synthesis on that. So every stream I will play a game, we'll talk about the pillars of gaming UX, and we'll review the game with those in mind and with UX in mind. And then we'll do what's called a rose, thorn, bud exercise. And that's what you're seeing over here on the left of the screen is a rose, thorn, bud. And this is a method, you may or may not have heard of it. The roses, it's a quick, simple method of critical thinking, and for anything. It could be your team processes. It could be an experience that you had, an event you went to, a camp you went to. It could be all kinds of things. So it's just thinking about what works, what's not working, what can we do about it. And we want to keep track of all the things that are working, because we can learn from that, and we also want to, we need that morale, first of all, know what we're doing right. And we also need to know what we're doing right and make note of that so that we're not losing track of that and accidentally undoing that while we're trying to fix the things that aren't going well. And so we've got distinct lists here. What's working? So that's what's on the left. And in the middle, what's not working? What did we not like? What's a low point here? And those are definitively listed. and you can see that they're not in a long sentence form dissertations. I've got them on Post-its so that they're quick, visible. We can quickly review it, and then we can take this and turn it into something. And so that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. So we've got what's not working, and then we've got a definitive list here of what can we do about it. What are our next steps to actionably do something about this? So if this were a real project, for example, if we were reviewing our own project along and we got a build from the developers, because this is what's going to happen in the XR space, is you'll get what's called a build from the developer, and you'll want to review it. You want to do a walkthrough of it. Did they do what I asked? If not, why? What do I need to make notes of, and so forth. And so you would take that build and walk through it and record yourself walking through it, preferably so that you can refer back, get video clips and screenshots and so forth for your reference, so you don't have to keep getting in and out of the headset. I will do video walkthroughs of the build, and so I can refer to it and scrub it later for clips and stuff. And this would be a good place to use Rose Thorn Bud, so that you can quickly assess it and say, here's what's good, here's what's not working, here's what I suggest we do about it. And so it's a short, concise list with Post-its, and then you can take this and turn it into whatever you want without, because if you go directly into writing the report without like thinking through visually, or however your list or whatever your short lists, bullet points, if you go straight into writing the report, that's it, your report's done. And so if you want to do anything else with that in the future, making slide presentations, synthesizing that information into something bigger later, then you're going to have to go scrub that report, and that's going to take longer than just looking at your Post-its. So that's one of the many main reasons that I do that, besides just I think visually, and this visually tells me I'm visually associating the next step for what to do about the thing that's not working, and I've got suggestions for everything that's not working and some extra stuff. And that tells me, okay, so we're in a good place to start our next steps to go forward. And I didn't even have to read anything. I just looked at it to see, okay, everything's connected, and we can now go work on these things. So that's the great thing about this type of work. So what I'm doing is, since I finished playing through the games that we were talking about, I'm missing one. Hold on. See, I need to pull up. I'm missing First Contact. Let me pull that up. I don't know if we'll get to it today. I do need to get back to work, so I will be doing a short stream again. But we're going to continue doing this until I... Hey, you're welcome, Paws and Wet Noses. I have an idea of who you are, but I'm not completely sure who you are. But I think I know who you are. So, yeah, I'm pulling up that other one. But we're going to keep doing this until I'm done. And then I'm trying to think about what we're going to do next, because it might not be another game. It might be continue working on something on this training thing, because the training is in high demand right now. Everyone's wanting to do training. So I'm thinking about showing you how I work on the pattern library afterwards, and I'll start adding training patterns. I'm thinking, I'm a junior level UX designer. I'm trying to learn XR2. Okay, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, so I do have some free courses. I don't think I've added that to here yet, but on the link tree you can find the links to those. I just published a new free course on I think it was Tuesday, and that is I've curated all of the content that I've written on this website, and like all the videos, everything that I've done on my website. And since that's a lot to take in, I've created this structured way of going through all of it and learning. And that's free. And then I've also got the transitioning to XR UX design, XR design. I think that's what I call it. I don't remember what I called it. But yeah, and that should all be in that link tree. And those two are free. So those 2 courses are going to be a prerequisite to, because I'm making more courses. Those 2 free courses are going to be prerequisites to any other courses that I do. So if you, and in the future, I'm going to be doing more in-depth. I'm working on it right now, where we're digging in and we're actually working on stuff. So that's what I'm working on now to get up online. But these 2 courses will be like, this is the foundational stuff that you need to know to help you succeed in any future course. But I'll have like different levels. It'll be what I do next is going to be beginner stuff still. Then I'll work my way up. Hopefully I'll be able to get some good gap filler courses on there for people to learn things that is not there for competition with schools. Schools still have their place. They're still going to be teaching you foundational like UX design and all that, like the methods of research and stuff. But then mine is specific to XR, and it's specific to like filling in those gaps of this is how we work. This is how we learn to teach ourselves as well, because that's a very important thing, is how do you teach yourself so you can self-study? Because honestly, I had to self-study. They didn't have schools out there on XR when I started. I had to teach myself all of this. And so there's a method of teaching yourself. How can you do that? And a lot of people don't have that capability. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be in my next one is we're going to be digging in, and we're going to be, okay, how do we look at this thing to learn from it? So that's what we're going to be doing next. So what was I doing? I was doing something. I had pulled up my website. Oh, that's what. Patterns. So I'm thinking about doing this next once we're done with the research synthesis is I need some patterns for training. I've got a lot of patterns on animation and on cutscenes, and I've got a lot on animation, but I don't have anything on like collaborative and social, or I definitely don't have enough on training. And that's what the big thing is right now for everyone. I only have one thing. So what I'm thinking of, since I've just finished this, playing through these games, that maybe that's what I'll do next, is show how I don't think I'm logged into my site to even let you see that, but that one. So I've got a mix of paid and unpaid patterns. My patrons get full access to the library, and then this is an example of a pattern in one of the free ones. So I'll go through, and this is like actual work that I would share with a team on a project. This is the pattern I want you to use for teleportation. And this is what I would do. But back when I worked, I would have to recreate it every time because I didn't have a thing. I didn't have it made so that I could just grab it and share it. But now I do. And that's what I'm working on, is this pattern library of these things that I can just, okay, grab that. Okay, this is how I want that to be, but change it this way for our project. That's the idea. And you can also see this is how other people have solved this problem so that you can learn from that. So I'm thinking that maybe that's what I'm going to do next, is take these games that we've played on training and start digging through and adding, pulling out patterns that I can add to the website. And then y'all see how I do that, because that is also going to teach you, okay, how do I do this if I'm on a team? And this is something that we very commonly do on projects is, okay, look at how, okay, we need to do some branching narrative. Look at Fire Emblem, Three Houses, how they handle branching narrative, and look at all the little patterns of how they're handling that. And what are the NPCs doing while they're waiting for a response from you? What are the NPC behaviors? And those are patterns. And those patterns are what we study from existing games, successful games, to see, like, how should we do this? What's a good... Because you can use your creativity to think of better ways of doing things, of course. But there's also this, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. If there's something out there that's already working and it's great, unless you have the time to make something better and innovate on that, great, then do that. But still, regardless, study how other people have done it and then see how you can make that better. And so that's the hope of the pattern library. And so I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do next after this, but we'll see. So pick up at car mech. That's where we finished. So we're on car mechanic buds. That's where we left off last time. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through all of the different rose thorn buds that I did on the different games that we played here on stream, and I'm synthesizing all of that into a bigger board so that I can make whatever, a report, a talk, something, a series of articles. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided yet, but I will make something of it. And then I've also got my list of things I need to follow up on for, are these other people doing this? Yes or no? Because I don't remember. Okay, so we are picking up here at buds. Do you have any questions for me? Also, feel free to ask questions. And they don't have to be specifically about what we're streaming about. If it's XR or something, you can ask. I left my coffee in the other room. That is tragic. Guess I'm drinking water. Okay. I'm heartbroken right now because my coffee's in the other room. So let's add tooltips for each controller you support. So let's see, do I already have this here? This is a common problem that I see across all see, or other ways. I'm just looking to see if I've added this somewhere else. So I've got overarching issues. So here's how I'm breaking it out for my report is I've got overarching things that work across all the games. And I've got individual game standouts. Like this is what this game's done really well. And I like that. And here are some overarching issues across all the games. And here are the individual standouts that we want to learn from so that we don't do that thing. What can we learn from that? And then buds are just overarching recommendations based on all of that of how we can create good training sims for XR. Let's see, that is that not something I complained about here? Well, it's not an overarching issue this time because first steps and first contact didn't mess up on that. They're actually excellent experiences. So it's not an overarching issue this time. So that's one thing that I found last time is that I'm probably going to have to break out types of learning, types of training, because the mechanic training, which all of these, I'm noticing this now, I hadn't then, and maybe it's just because that's what's available, because I was trying to find other types of training. Apparently I have something about mechanics. Rover mechanic, car mechanic, wrench. All of these are about fixing engines and cars and robots. Says something about me, I guess. And then a different type was first steps and first contact, which are teaching you how to interact with the world. So there's two types. We've got training of a skill, like skill training, versus interaction training. Those are two different things. So I'm probably going to need to separate out whatever my output is into those two different types, because while I was synthesizing this information, I hadn't thought about it when I was playing the games, but while I was synthesizing the information, I realized, hey, these things aren't the same, so maybe I should separate those, because it doesn't seem fair to put them in one group when the issues of one type isn't affecting the other type. So I decided at that point, the synthesis is the discovery phase, is part of the discovery of, okay, how am I gonna do this? So yeah. So controller tooltips only for the Xbox, even though it does support PlayStation. So let's see, this might not have been an overarching issue this time. Let's see if I did a thing to double check. Tooltips show when hovering. Controller tooltips are relevant to different controllers. Okay, so I've got it on my double check list. So let's see, make sure tutorials are consistent. Glowing outlines, make it focused. Use color contrast. Explore other ways. Okay. So these are the follow-ups of what I need to go back and verify. So that is one of them that I need to go verify. And I have verified that Car Mechanic does not do that based on this. So now I need, wait, where'd it go? Here, based on that. So I do need that bud though. Okay. Well, that is a bud, I guess, the way I have it, so I'll just leave it relevant to different controllers. Yeah. Doesn't include safety training. So I did complain about that already. Yeah, doesn't include safety training. So I've already done the thorns. So let's add the buds. That's what we're doing. Okay. I'm just gonna copy these buds and stick them. I'm basically just, while I'm looking at this, I'm thinking through and validating so that I can go back and verify, because we do want this to be a scientific, scholarly kind of report. It'll be in easy English so that people can understand it, but we do want to still use use good methods. Doesn't include safety training, so we want to make sure training is thorough for new employees or a novice, or you need to decide who your training is targeting. Know who your training is targeting. Novice versus skilled, etc. It's kind of a separate bud, but did I already say that somewhere? It's not a glamorous thing that I'm doing right now, but it lets you see how actual work's done. Yeah, I haven't said that anywhere else, so yeah. Right, and this is where the challenge of keeping your lines clear comes in. So I'm just going to start making, I don't know why it's doing that. That's annoying. I'm going to start trying to make notes here. So that we have an idea of what the bud says. Doesn't include safety training. And we also want to put it to that one, or is that one's just going to be, that one could just be general. Know who your target audience is. I'll connect it anyway. It looks cleaner than your flowcharts. I'm trying. Because I have to refer back to these, so I need it to be. I have also like severe nearsightedness, so I don't see well. My eyes take a while to figure out what I'm seeing. And so it needs to be clear for me. As well, so. All right. Doesn't teach safety. Not covering some of the basic issues that you need to go over for newbies, and that also ties into this one. Know your target audience. Don't take for granted that everyone knows what you know. I'm gonna add that here. Because those go together. And there's potential. This is a separate one that wasn't tied. Potential for even more focus is having the full environment wide except for the first step. Then adding objects in the color as you learn about them. So I want that bud in here because I really like that. From Car Mechanic Simulator, the environment starts out white and then it only has what you're focusing on, what you're learning in color. So the whole environment, and so it's taking into account our awe factor of whenever we get into a new experience, we're like distracted by the environment and everything going on in the environment, and it's that can be distracting from people trying to learn, and we want them to be able to focus on what it is they're supposed to be learning. So what Car Mechanic Simulator is, even though it's a game, they had a very good environment design, and they do have a free demo if you want to check it out for yourself on Steam. Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 demo. I've just played the demo, and they started out, or you can check out the video because those are on demand. That would be easier probably. Check out the video on demand and you can see it. The warehouse started out white, and then only what they were learning about was in color. However, everything they were learning about was in color, whereas I was saying you could take it even further with that focus and just focusing on, this is the first thing that I need to go learn about. I'm going to go there first. That's the only thing in color. And then as I go to the next thing, add that color. That's why I was saying you could just take it further by adding even more focus. But you would, of course, have to test that. But I don't see any issues with it in my brain. But you never know. That's why you always want to test. So I'm just going to add that there as a separate bud. And give player full control of motion. The camera's auto panning. Okay. That was definitely an issue with give player control. You can pull out the part instead of zooming into the part. Because that's something that makes people sick in... yeah, it does give them the feeling of progress, yeah. They can visually see it. I've learned this much about the warehouse. Now I have this much more I want to learn about. Yeah, that's true. Don't know how to tell when the enough oil is added. And that also goes back to... Okay. Don't assume that everyone knows what you know. Yeah. Ensure interactions are consistent to reduce confusion. Here, these are kind of two separate buds, so... So the reservoir, if you've never messed with cars, the reservoir of wiper fluid has a little fill line, like on your coffee makers and stuff. There's a fill line. But with oil, I've never changed oil, so I don't know. But it's inside an engine, and that's not clear. So how do you know when it's full? It doesn't teach you that. So if you're a newbie, how are you going to know when to stop pouring oil in to the reservoir? That's what they weren't teaching. Keep the tooltips. Can only help. Okay, that was... We did those tooltips. Okay, that was... I think that was something I had to double check. Tooltips show when hovering over objects. Controller tooltips relevant. Tooltips go away. Okay, yeah, that was something I have to double check. I'm gonna make sure that's clear that that's not a bud. That is a thorn I'm following up on. Let's see. These are things that are... I think I'm gonna change my color coding here. I'm just... These were roses. That's this versus just next step. Easy way of finding the next step if out of field of view. Okay, so probably to reference the full order list. You have ability to reference the full task list versus just the next step. I'm just adding checklist there, so I don't have to copy that over. So add wayfinding when the next step's out of the field of view. Right. Better to use multiple senses than just one. Okay, so that is it for car mechanic simulator. What did we talk about for transitioning? Starting the environment white with only focused objects in the color is a great idea. Yeah. And I'm going to add your note since you're participating here. Also helps. Also gives a feeling of progress. Yeah, so there you're added. And then animation and motion sickness are very important factors. Yeah, we have to definitely think about that for XR. Motion sickness is one of the major complaints about VR specifically. Use wayfinding. We definitely want that. We don't want the auto pan or anything like that. Okay. And I didn't have anything about... Yeah. Okay. So that's it for car mechanic simulator, and then we'll just keep doing the same thing with the rest of them. So wrench gives, let's see, it gives audio and visual feedback of successful actions. See, so that, I think I need to go back and double check. So I know that it does that on first steps for sure, but I don't remember if it does that on any of the other ones. So I need to double check that. Oh, wrong. Why did it copy that one? Here. How many did I go through? 6. I went through 6. So I went through Rover Mechanic Simulator, Car Mechanic Simulator, Wrench on the desktop, Wrench on VR, and then I went through First Steps, which is an onboarding experience, and First Contact, which is an onboarding experience. So that's what I was saying earlier is 2 of these things aren't like the others. So I might need to separate those out into different, because there's probably going to be some learnings from different types of training. So are you training someone how to do a skill or how to interact with the world? So those are 2 different things. So that's something that I'm going to need to figure out how to separate out in whatever output I do. Oh yeah, it's right here. So, this was wrench. So I just need to follow up on the rest of these. I know that first step does. So I can put yes on first steps. I need to verify the other ones. I think first contact does, but I need to verify that. So I will do that. Okay. It shows you how to access reference information in manuals. I'm thinking, did any of the other ones do that? I don't think Car Mechanic Simulator gave you the ability to look at that. Period. And I don't remember Rover Mechanic Simulator, so that'll be something I have to check. So, a lot of follow-ups. So, wrench desktop is a yes. Not relevant for first steps and first contact. They do that up to a certain point. The contextual tooltips and first steps are really cool. They're really nice. And that's how it should be done. That is an example of how onboarding should happen, because that's a really good one. Disabling menu items that aren't relevant. That is, they disabled the buttons that weren't relevant in first steps. That one's not applicable to that one because it's only available on Oculus. To give the ability to reference full task list. This one was, yeah, no, but then I'm not sure. These weren't relevant. Because that's not what that is. And that one was also not relevant because of the way the environment's designed. Not relevant because of the nature of that. Those two sims is not to one that they would need reference manuals and stuff. Okay. Okay. Tooltips for common actions visible at all times. I would have to verify. I'd have to verify that. And I have to verify VR version as well. I'm not... I don't remember if they would have been available on the VR version. I have to verify the other two. Shows you how to change the torque settings on the wrench. That was something that was only them. Since that's the name of the game, that would be a good thing to teach about. Gives options for switching to manual versus auto on the wrench interactions. So there's more than one standalone thing. And you can see in the options that there's support for multiple VR controllers, including Cosmos. But I can't try it on the Cosmos because I only have it. I bought that game on the Oculus Rift store, so I can't use the Cosmos with it. So that's the difference between buying something on Steam or Oculus stores or something. If you buy it on Steam on the desktop, you can use it with multiple headsets, but if you buy it on the Oculus store, you can only use it with Oculus. I have not. I keep forgetting. I need to write it down. I need to write it down. Windows has its own platform, mixed reality. I need to try it because I keep forgetting to try it. I'm gonna write it down. I need to try. I haven't tried it yet because I think I saw some presentations on it back when it first came out and I was absolutely not impressed, so I never tried it. But I need to go ahead and try it because it's been years. Hopefully they've learned and made some improvements. See in the options that there's support for multiple controllers, including Cosmos. So I think I already have that somewhere. Maybe. So the only one that I tried that was VR was Wrench. Of that set of 4, Wrench, Car Mechanic, Rover Mechanic Simulator, Wrench Desktop, Wrench VR. I didn't check to see what all Rover Mechanic Simulator supports. So I need to... So it wouldn't be VR controllers, it would be controllers. And they did have support for controllers, but let's see, Rover Mechanic Simulator. So I'm just gonna make that a follow-up then. Supports multiple controllers, and my voice is going out. So I have asthma, so I think that because the weather is doing crazy things here, that my voice keeps going out. The weather's crazy. The importance of good first impression What was that regarding? I missed that. I missed when you typed it. Yes, it does. That's rent rate. And that's all the roses for wrench. You can watch all these on demand if you want to check them out later. If you haven't watched them yet, to see context of what I'm talking about. Only available on Oculus, so it won't support other ones. And those two I don't remember. So field of view of the play space makes you have to move to look around a lot to see the task and then perform him. That was, I think that was only for them. So that's like a standout issue that was only theirs. And that since they, and if you haven't seen Wrench, since they basically, and I talk about cross-platform design as well on the website, is that you want, do I have it in here? Let's see. Do I have a pattern on that? No, I don't. Okay. Platforms. Can't remember the name of it. That one. Designing across technologies and platforms. So what Wrench did was they designed, they used the exact same like environment and everything for their desktop, the UI and everything for their desktop and their VR experience, and that makes it a suboptimal experience because there's some extra unnecessary head movement that you have to do and camera movement in the game to see the UI panels because they were placed in space for VR, which is fine. That concept is fine, but if you're playing on desktop, that makes it harder for you to interact with the UI on the desktop. So you have to decide what are you going to build in-world versus for the 2D screen. If you're designing cross-platform, you're going to need to fit it with the better experience is going to be to design for both. Design your 2D UI for your 2D game and your spatial UI for your spatial game, VR or XR, and design one for each, and don't just plop the same one in both, because that makes it a suboptimal experience for both. Okay, so Wrench, field of view, play space. Yeah. I need to add lines here. And play space is too big, you have to move around a lot. I think that was only Wrench. It's only an issue for Wrench. Wasn't really for Rover Mechanics Simulator. For Car Mechanics Simulator. Definitely wasn't for First Steps and First Contact because they had you standing still. The task list has all the tasks listed and all the tooltips listed in the same place at once. Takes up a lot of space and you have to keep looking back and forth. That was only them. Depth perception on the desktop is way off because there's no shadows to indicate where the object is. That was only on them. You have to pay attention to those details because I had a hard time figuring out depth on when I was playing the desktop version. Seems like they designed this for VR and popped it to the desktop. And that was definitely only them. Wrench has a lot of problems. It's a cool concept, but it has a lot of problems. And I'm playing an old version because I'm on the Oculus platform on the Rift store. And for some reason, I am unable to update any of my games on the Rift store. I keep getting errors that Microsoft Defender's blocking it from being able to update, and I haven't figured out how to fix that. I've even turned off Microsoft Defender to try to undo it, and it still won't do it, so I don't know what the deal is. It's been an issue that's been going on for years, and you would think that they would have done something to fix it, but they haven't. Or if they have, I don't know, because I can't update it. So at the torque station, sign placed behind the bolts, wrench obscures the sign. So that's only on them because they're the only ones that do that. Players have background knowledge around torque subject matter. So that's kind of an overarching issue that it's assuming people have knowledge that they don't. Let's see. Doesn't include overstripping, doesn't know skipping steps, teaching. Those were just skipping steps. It's not assuming background knowledge that is needed. This one is. Okay. And that goes back to knowing your target audience. I have that somewhere. Let's keep going with the thorns. Takes an hour and still not done with the tutorial. I haven't even played the game yet. And that is true. I still haven't played the game because I've never finished the tutorial. It takes forever. That is only on them. Wrench has issues. Okay. So design the play space to be more ergonomic for VR and digital space. I don't think I've mentioned that anywhere else. Let's see. Yeah. That'll just go here. I'll make that dotted. Redesign the task list to show the next task. Okay, yeah, because there was too much stuff going on in there. Was that first impression comment around wrench, and so if the game's named Wrench, they need to be teaching about wrenches. That was about. I missed you typing that, so I missed where it was in the conversation. Task list has all the task lists listed. That's there. Add better shading. Use best practices for cross-platform design. And yeah. Oh, did I copy that twice? No. I have to constantly switch back and forth between the tablet view and the task list. Have to, yeah, so this is designing cross-platform. Add a HUD if it's in 2D. Don't add a HUD if it's in 3D. VR. So I missed one, let's see. So I'm probably going to come to a stopping point when I finish these buds. I need to get back to work. Let's see. Study the target audience. I already have that somewhere. Hold on. I have that somewhere. Yeah. It's here. Know who you're training. That's going to be a nice long line. I can't even see it. Okay, we're gonna have to. And I'll just make a note, know your target audience. That way I don't have to scroll all the way up there. And let them learn while doing. Treat them like a new hire. That would go for car mechanic too. Okay, so that is, I think that's all the buds. Fine, I'll just go ahead and do this since it's here. And then we'll be finished with Wrench Desktop, and then I'll stop the stream there. Looks like this game was designed for VR. So yeah, follow cross-platform. I don't have... So don't just design for VR and plop into the desktop. Because that's actually something that people do for training, for VR training. They will design something for VR first, which is good because you want it to be a good VR experience, but then they'll just take that exact experience and plop it into a 2D, a desktop version, and not think about how to optimize it for desktop use. And it causes issues for the desktop version, and you don't want to do that because you still want your people to learn what they're supposed to be learning, and by not prioritizing that experience for them, you're actually hindering your own efforts to train your people. So See, do I already have locomotion in here? Yeah, I know I don't. Okay. And yeah. So that's that for wrench desktop. Here. That's definitely one that we're gonna have to link to. And so this is gonna be like, do I have an article about this? If not, maybe I need to write one or a video or something. We'll see. I probably do, but we'll see. If not, then this might be the content I use to make one. But when, don't know, but yeah. So that is it, and then I will pick up at Wrench VR next time. Did you have questions? Anyone have questions? This is just me doing synthesis, really. But if y'all don't have questions, thanks for hanging out. And I will see y'all next week. Thanks. Have a good rest of your week.